Everyone see me and hear me all right? I know in the chat. I'm gonna give it maybe 1 to 2 minutes for everyone to kind of get in here, and then we're gonna start. In the meantime, while we're waiting for everyone to kind of get in here, what'd you guys trade today? Did you follow your rules? Did you do the right thing? Did you do the wrong thing? How can you improve? Also, get questions ready for me for the end of this, so we can kind of review that together. There's some landscapers next to me. They think I'm insane, wearing shorts, flip-flops, and a giant ass selfie stick at 11 o'clock in the morning. Before I kind of get this started, I kind of want to have everyone's opinion on what they think of YouTube Live versus Instagram Live. The way that we're going to kind of do this is I'm going to stick to YouTube Live, and Bao is going to stick to Instagram Live, and we're going to kind of get both platforms at once, rather than sacrificing it. So we're just waiting for people to kind of get in here and join, and then we'll get started. Also, there should be like a, next to the subscribe button on YouTube, there should be like a bell button. So hit that bell button to know whenever I'm going live. So I think you get a notification for that. It's right next to the subscribe button somewhere. Can everyone hear me all right and see me all right? What's up, Doug? Doug, okay, sounds good, looks good. Okay, cool. All right, give it a minute, and then I'm gonna start. The topics I'm gonna talk about today are tops trade, OPGN trade. I'm gonna talk about LCI. I'm gonna talk about the meetup that Bao is having tomorrow. And then I'm going to talk about the meetup that I'm having in New York City the week after. And I'm going to take anyone's questions that they have to. All right, so I'm just going to kind of get this started. All the late people can kind of watch the replay. But first things first is I want to kind of get all of the stuff out of the way. Number one is today at 2 p.m. Today at 2 p.m. market time, Tosh is hosting a free webinar for everyone, not only MIC members, every single trader. So at 2 p.m., we will tweet out the link to the webinar. Tosh will go over some strategies for new traders. He'll walk you through MIC, show you our video library, show you some of our content, talk about our moderator phone calls, and then he'll take questions from members. So that's going to be every single Wednesday at 2 p.m. The next thing is tomorrow, Bao is hosting a meetup in California. The information to that I'll put in the description of this replay video, or if you're watching it live, if you go on twitter.com/modern_rock, you'll find all the information for his meetup tomorrow. The meetup tomorrow is open for members and non-members. You could go talk trading, meet your tab potentially, hang out with Bao, and then, if you buy him a drink, he'll buy drinks for the entire bar. So that's a little secret about that. And then I'll kind of talk about it more in detail next week. But on September 14th, I'm having a meetup in New York City, again, open to all. I'll talk about that later to not kind of confuse the dates and stuff like that. So Tosh webinar at 2, Bao meetup tomorrow, and I'm having a meetup next week. So, all right, let's kind of walk you through my process, right? So what I like to do on these Instagram lives or YouTube lives is walk you through my process from the beginning of the day to when I am done trading for the day so that you could hear what I do for my trading specifically, and you could take basically my process and try to mold it into your own process. So yesterday's YouTube live, I spoke about how I didn't get much sleep. I spoke about the importance of recording your screens and watching yourself trade later like a professional athlete watches their footage, right? So just to kind of review on that, a professional athlete watches their footage to improve, right? They see what they did right, see what they did wrong to try to fix it and make sure that everything goes well the next time. As a professional trader, you need to be doing the same. You need to be recording your screens every single day. You need to be reviewing the way you traded. And pretty soon, after you watch yourself over and over again, you learn more about your good habits and you learn more about your bad habits. So that's number one. So coming into today, I knew that yesterday I didn't get much sleep. So I made it my job today, or my job last night, to try to get as much sleep as possible. I went and got Brazilian steak. I filled myself up into a food coma, and as soon as I was done eating, I got home and I passed out. And that's not a very healthy thing to do. I don't suggest getting into a food coma from Brazilian steak, but I was just desperate to get some sleep. I just needed it, right? I just really, really needed it, and that's what I had to do. So woke up this morning, 6 a.m., and I saw OPGN on the scanner, right? I saw OPGN running, and the first things first is I looked at the float of the company. So what I want to do, let me walk you through also how I kind of research these companies, how I research these stocks, right? So first things first is I look at the float of the company. I noticed that the float was less than a million. I looked at the filings of the company. Didn't really see anything too crazy in the filings. And then I looked at the chart. I looked at where are the key resistance levels and how I can attack it. And to me, I have a rule of not shorting stocks under 2 million shares of float. So immediately when I saw the float was that low, I already had a sour taste in my mouth. I didn't want to touch it. I didn't want to play it. I am not a long bias trader, so I am not looking for a bounce on that stock. I'm just done with it, right? So what I'm doing next is seeing what the low hangers are. I'm looking at the stocks from the previous day to see how they traded and how I can kind of attack that. So I saw that LCI was a low hanging fruit. It kind of washed out and broke down yesterday. So any bounce today towards, 1050, I had a plan to kind of short that bounce. And the way that I'm kind of attacking these low hanging fruits these days is most of the time, if I do not have my fantasy orders ready, if I don't have my fantasy orders ready, I personally will miss the trade. So what I did today is I put out my fantasy orders on LCI near 1050, and I basically just waited for those to fill. And as soon as it filled, I made my money and I walked away. So we recapped right now. OPGN was a nano float I avoided. Recapped LCI, low hanging fruit I avoided. Also, I am passing the house right now where the Aventador SVJ got stolen. I'm just gonna pass by it. That's the gate that it got stolen from. I don't want them to think I stole it. Some guy walking with a selfie stick. Anyway, so those were the two trades, and then you had tops pop up. So tops for me is I've made almost over six figures on this stock in the past couple. Sorry. Holy fuck. Holy fuck. That guy was hauling ass. Anyway, I've made over six figures on tops in the past couple of years when Dries was kind of going crazy. This stock was its sympathy play. It's had multiple reverse splits. So I know the way that this stock trades, and I kind of have a special place in my heart for it. So what I know is that when this stock kind of turns, it turns in a big way. So for tops, what I want to focus on was seeing how it reacted pre-market. The stock went to almost $11 pre-market and then went all the way down to $8 in the morning, I'm pretty sure. So because the stock kind of already broke down, because the stock already showed that the trend was kind of broken, it was in my best interest to look for a bounce to kind of short this stock. So I mentioned to the guys in the room, I made a plan tomorrow. I made a plan that said that I'm looking to short a bounce near $9. So I did what I did on LCI. I put my fantasy orders out 880, 890, 9, 905, 910. I put it all over. I scattered all over the place, right? I scattered it all over the place. And the reason why I wanted 9 is because that was the level that was VWAP during pre-market. That was kind of the main resistance level. So it was the VWAP area was $9 and a whole number of resistance was $9 after it already broke down to $8. So basically I had my orders there waiting. And in the morning, I nailed that trade. I made about 1,500 bucks on that trade. And then that was in 10 minutes, right? I made that in 10 minutes, 10, 15 minutes. And what a problem is for me is when I make money so quickly like that, it kind of gives me a false sense of confidence. It tells me that it kind of gets my ego going. So what I like to do is anytime I make a decent amount of money within the first, 15 to 20 minutes of the market, I like to mention to the guys in the room that it's time to scale down. It's time to size down, especially if you have made money already. So let's say my max size was 5,000 shares on tops. If I already made 1,500 bucks in the morning, there's no reason that I should be risking that much again, right? There's no reason that I should be using that much size again. So for me, I told myself, okay, I'm only going to use 2,000 shares. If I want to reshort tops, I'm only going to use 2,000 shares. And I lost money on the reshort, right? So I was wrong the second time I shorted it. But instead of losing $1,000, if I had 5,000 shares, I only lost 400 bucks. And that was because uh, I used less size, right? I used less size. I felt like making 1,500 bucks wasn't enough money, so I went back to the well. But at least if I went back to the well, it was with smaller size, and that kind of kept me safe, right? So that was how I traded tops. So I made money on tops, I made money on LCI, and I was very proud of the fact that I avoided OPGN on the short side. I made a plan to short the death line on OPGN. We identified the death line as $9. So I told myself, you're not touching this shit until it's $9. And that's basically what I did. Never got to $9, never traded it, never lost money, never made money, no problem. So those were the kind of the three main tickers in play today. Those were kind of the ones that I was really interested in. And the thing is that the market is now kind of heating up again. Before we had maybe months of the market not moving, but now we have something like OPGN that is a nano float that is going up almost 100%, right? So it is more important than ever to stick to your rules and to be loyal to your rules. Because if not, this is the type of market that would kill you, right? This is the type, holy shit, that's a crazy house. This is the type of market that would kill you, right? So for me personally, it is more about refining my process every single day and giving me reasons as to why I should not trade stock rather than reasons I should be in the stock. Because the way that Bao explains it is that if you go looking around for a trade, you're going to go find it. What I want to do is I want to find all the reasons that I shouldn't be taking the trade. And then if those reasons are severe and extreme, like a nano float that's on SSR, that's on day one, that's a red flag. That's a siren going off in my head saying, don't be a dumbass. Don't touch this shit. It is too freaking dangerous, right? It is too freaking dangerous. So that's kind of the main, those are kind of like the main topics that I want to talk about today. And then right before I started the Instagram live or the YouTube live, James texted me. So James is one of our moderators. He is an incredible, incredible trader. So he kind of asked me a question. He said, how long did it take you to kind of recognize that you should be using fantasy orders and just attacking the lines rather than shorting based on anything else? So, for example, if the line is 1050 on LCI and he sees some resistance at 1035, he was like, it's so hard not to take a start at 1035 when I know the line is at 1050 just in case it doesn't hit. So he asked me, what do you do to kind of mentally prep yourself from doing that? And I told him a very simple answer. I told him this. I said, after watching the way Bao trades for a couple of years, after watching him and reverse engineering what he does, I learned this. I learned that if Bao waits for his lines and he only shorts his lines and he only attacks the areas that are of interest. So, for example, 10.50 is the level on LCI or $9 is the level on tops. What I learned is if Bao waits for his lines, there's a 90% chance that he's going to make money. If Bao does not wait for his lines and he gets emotional, there's a 90% chance that he's going to lose money. So it's just a game of probability. If you know the line is 1050 on LCI, have your fantasy order at 1048, 1051, 1052, or whatever it is, and just wait. If it doesn't hit, it doesn't hit. But if it does hit, there's probably a 90% chance that you're going to make money on that setup, right? Same thing for tops. If the line is $9 and you're shorting 880, you're probably going to be the guy that stops out at $9 into my shorts. So kind of use that as an example to remind you that, hey, if you just identify your lines and put out your fantasy orders, your fishing orders, what other gurus are calling wish orders these days, you're going to be fine. You're going to be fine. The problems happen in trading when you do not make a plan. The problems happen in trading when you trade based on emotion. Whenever there's a new ticker that pops up randomly in the middle of the day, that's usually the ticker that most of us are going to lose money on because we didn't spend an hour planning for that trade. We didn't spend an hour researching that trade. The reason why Bao loves when stocks halt is because it gives him 5 minutes to do his research. And if he didn't do that before, he would be all over the place, right? So trading is a process, right? There is a process to trading. There is a routine for trading. You have to look up the float, look up the chart, look up the filings, look at the lines. If a random stock is popping up in the middle of the day, you don't have time to do all that stuff. You just throw an order and you're probably going to lose on that, right? So, again, to recap, identify your lines, identify your areas of interest, put out your fantasy orders, and if your orders hit, you will make money. If they do not hit and it goes to 1030 and it tanks, so be it. So be it. Are you trying to build long-term trading habits or are you just trying to fucking show up and try to make some money? Because the reality is the only way you make money in the market is if you have a process that spits out money. Just by winging it or buying something on the high of the day scanner or a nano pullback or an ABCD, XYZ pattern is all bullshit. It's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. Trading is based on probabilities. Trading is based on technicals. Trading is based on fundamentals. If you go looking for an XYZ setup, you'll find it. If you go looking for a nano pullback, you'll find it. But if you have an area of interest, like the 1050 line on LCI, which is resistance from the previous day, so you're using previous day's resistance to what's the word? You're using previous day's resistance to give you the ability to attack today at that same resistance spot. If yesterday's resistance was 1050 and today it goes from $10 to 1050, there's an extremely high chance that 1050 is going to reject for the second time. And those are the low-hanging fruit setups. Those are the easy money setups. So members today nailed LCI, right? Members today nailed LCI because that was the main low-hanging fruit of the day. So if you just focus on low-hanging fruit, which is day two setups, and focus on death lines, you have the best chance to become a consistently profitable trader, right? Your goal is to make the most amount of money with the least amount of stress as possible. And today, I made $1,000, no stress. Bao made his couple thousand, no stress. He walked away. He walked away, and that was it, man. That was it. That was it. Oh shit, Bao's saying I'm giving away too much. Shit. All right, all right. I'll go into Q&A now. I'll go into Q&A. But yeah, this is the kind of the. Oh wait, give me a sec. Here's a good question, Alex. How do you deal with 2 or 3 days in a row not trading because your edge is not here? Very hard mentally, as you see everyone else is making money. Blah blah blah. Okay, so that's okay. So that's a great question. So being a full-time trader, does not mean that you have to trade full-time. What does that mean? Just because you show up to the market does not mean that you deserve to get paid. Doesn't mean that you deserve to get a paycheck. The market is not like going to your day job. Just because you show up and clock in doesn't mean that you're automatically getting paid. In the market, if you show up and you clock in, there's usually a higher probability that you're going to lose money, right? That you're going to lose money. So when you see other people, making money, that's probably because that's where their edge is. Their edge is there. If you are a long bias trader, it was hard in the summer. There was no real long trades, but in the past few weeks, there's been long trades everywhere. So when your setups aren't there, it is okay to take time off. It is okay to spend time with your family. It is okay to kind of just relax and backtest and study and watch and do all these things. But it is not okay to get out of your niche and trade shit that is not your setup just because you feel like the market owes you a paycheck that day. Because the market doesn't owe you shit. It doesn't owe you anything. So when the market is hot and your setups are there, you better be damn sure you are mentally focused. You are mentally ready to attack. Because if you exhaust all of your mental capital while you're trying to trade random setups, then you're doomed. You're doomed. Let me kind of scroll back and read some of these questions. Just a quick reminder again, Tasha's webinar is at 2 p.m. market time today. We'll tweet out the link. That is a great resource for brand new traders to walk you through MIC. Alex doesn't like sidewalks. Yeah, the reason why I don't like sidewalks is because it's not flat and level. The street is level. So when I'm walking, I don't want to be like going like this and that, trying to wobble on the sidewalks. Street is flat. I just like going on the street. And if someone runs me over, so be it. Will there be a replay of Tasha's webinar? We will put the Q&A aspect on YouTube. So what do you guys think of this YouTube live so far? We have 137 people in here so far. That's great. I love kind of doing this stuff. The selfie stick looks literally insane. If there was a mirror somewhere, actually, could I don't know if there was a mirror somewhere, I would show you. So yeah, I talked about Bao's meetup in the beginning, but I'll talk about it again. Bao, if you could post the address for your meetup in the chat, that'd be great. But Bao is having a meetup today in California. It is, one sec, open to members and non-members. And the benefit of going to a meetup is this, right? Number one, it's free. So where else can you kind of go and meet $1 million stock trader for free that is not trying to sell you a DVD? That's number one. That's literally number one. Number two is networking, right? So here's the thing about traders, right? Here's the thing about traders. Some of the people that are getting into trading are the best doctors, the best lawyers, the best engineers in the world. They are people that have money, that are trying to make a supplemental income or trying to make more money. So when you come to these meetups, you network with some of the fucking smartest and best people in their industry, right? In their industry. So it is only in your best interest to kind of come and meet these people because you all have one thing in common. You guys are passionate as fuck about what you do. You guys are passionate as fuck about trading. It's the one equalizer that brings us all together is our love and passion for trading. So if you are in the area, go to the meetup, hang out with us. The information is on Twitter at twitter.com/modernrock. Yeah, I have a meetup in New York coming up. My birthday is in 5 days. I have an announcement for my birthday. And that's basically it. I mean, look, I like to keep these YouTube lives short and sweet. I know that if it's kind of like an hour long, people don't watch it. So I'm kind of staying to the sweet spot about half an hour. But I mean, that's basically it, guys. That's basically it. So I'm going to take a couple more questions and then I'm going to kind of wrap this up. Let me kind of go back through some of these questions. I'm turning 25. Alex, last question. How do you deal mentally with slow months, periods with your edge, and specifically when do you, how often do you trade? Okay, so here's the thing about the market. It's not always going to be hot. It's not always going to be crazy. It's not always going to be nuts. But you have to remember that the market moves in cycles. There's going to be a cycle where shorts are in control, and there's going to be a cycle where longs are in control. So you have to just realize what type of cycle you're in. And if you are a long bias trader in a cycle of shorts nailing everything, that doesn't mean that you have to change your edge, or that doesn't mean that your edge disappeared. The market is in cycles, and you just have to recognize that this is how the market kind of works. We're going to be doing international meetup soon. And right now, we were in the market where longs are in control, and we are going to slowly get into a market where shorts are in control. You could tell the way you tell who's in control or not is very simple. If there's endless gap and craps, if the stock is gapping 80% and taking all day, you are in a market where shorts are in control. If you get a stock that's gapping 40% and runs an extra 40%, that's where that's where longs are in control. So yeah, guys, I'm gonna stick doing these YouTube lives. Today was a fun one, a lot of good knowledge in here. That's what I say. If you guys have any questions about me, MIC Bao, you could hit us up on Twitter or Instagram. The link is in the description. I don't think I have anything else to say. That's basically it. Sign up before we raise our prices. See you later, guys.